Right, so this is more to do with working out how the camera, this new camera and everything works. What I'm doing is using a tablet rather than my phone. We'll see how it goes. What I'm cooking tonight is, excuse me, my wine isn't in reach. I'm going to do a savoury mince. This is one of my favourite dishes. You can have it with pasta. You can put potato over it and have a cottage pie type thing. You can do it in jacket potatoes. And it freezes. It's just so easy just to pull out. It's comfort food. It never tastes the same because I always do it different. But I thought I'll share it with you. So what I'm going to do to start with, I'm going to start on the front of the hob and switch over to the back because you can see what's going on the front easier. So good old olive oil. You know me and my olive oil. And it's always virgin extra. Now what I've also done is I've got some mince that I have frozen and defrosted. So that is ready to go. Well, it will be when I can get into the bag, she says. Right, so that's ready to go, and I've also prepped my veg and my onions. So I've got the chopped an onion in there. In here I have mixed peppers, a bit of courgette because I had some in the fridge. Funny that, I seem to have a lot of courgette in my fridge, but I like it. I've got some green chilli in there, sweet corn. I actually use tinned mushrooms. I think you'll see that back to front, but you get the idea. The tinned mushrooms, they keep easier, especially when you don't want to be going backwards and forwards to the supermarket or the shop every day. Right, so what I'm going to do, oh, and I've got some, I think they're chickpeas. Again, they come in a tin. I use them, brilliant. So now that's come to heat, I'm going to throw my mince in there. And I'm going to brown it. Now what I've also done in preparation, something I particularly love, garlic. I got this sort of garlic masher thing at Countryfile in Oxford with Ruth a few years back now. And basically you rub your garlic clove on there and it just mashes the garlic up. It's beautiful. There's 2 cloves going in there. Obviously, if you don't like garlic, don't put it in. Hey, even I know that. So I'm just going to mash that in so that all goes into the mince. And remember, all I'm doing at the moment is I'm just browning this mince off. A little bit more olive oil. Gotta love olive oil, haven't you? So I'm just going to brown that all up. Now once that's browned, I'll come back to you. Okay, so the mince is all nice and brown. I think you can see that. So what I'm going to do now is I've chopped up an onion and I'm going to throw that in there. And I'm going to fry the onion and the mince together. Now you can do it the other way round. You can put your onion in first and then your mince. If you like to annihilate the taste of your onions, I like crispy food. Sometimes I do overcook this and my onions and everything have just gone soggy. But actually it's still edible. It's still nice. So now I'm frying the onions with the meat, and whilst I was doing that I got out a few herbs and spices that I'm going to throw in, and including something I bought in the supermarket here, which is bay leaves. I love bay leaves. I have bought, oh that smells gorgeous. I have bought a little tree, I call it my bay twig, which I'm hoping I will get my own leaves from eventually. When I lived in the UK, I had a couple of really, really nice bay trees that I bought when they were about that big, and I'm sorry, you can't see, can you? About 2 foot high, and grew them until they were over 8 foot. And I actually moved one from down the garden fence to outside the kitchen door so I could get out and get my bay leaves. So I am going to put 6 in here. I always count them because it's useful when you're taking them out, because obviously I'm going to put, well, obviously you don't want to eat them. Some people crush them. I put them in whole. Now we're getting to the point where my onions are starting to turn translucent. I swear this is only my first glass of wine. They're starting to turn translucent. Can you see that? Yeah? So I'm now ready to add everything else. Now, if you've got a tin of chopped tomatoes, that's my preferred ingredient. Unfortunately, I don't. So this is tomato fritter that you get over here. It's basically like tomato sauce, tomato soup. This is open because I nicked a little bit of it, because the other day I went shopping and I saw hot dogs and I had a craving for hot dogs. So I got myself some hot dogs and some hot dog bread and went to eat them, and I didn't have any tomato ketchup. So I opened this up. So it's only a little bit missing. So I'm mixing all that in. I might put another one in, who knows. We'll see how this one goes, or I might put a half of one in. So now you can see I've mixed that all up, and I'm maintaining the heat the whole while. Right, so now I'm going to put in, obviously to taste, Lea & Perrins. Oh yes, a little bit of Worcester sauce. I am going to throw in some basil. Oh, it says an M on it, that came from Morrison's. Throw some basil in. I'm putting these over on one side because I might want to put more in later. We never know, it's all a taste for me. This is parsley going in. Let's use the bigger bit. There we go, it's parsley going in. We're going to throw, now this came from Spain. This is herbs provincial, mixed herbs, so a little bit more of everything. And something I do particularly, let's stir that, it's getting a bit ferocious. And something I do like to throw in, chilli powder. Gives it a little bit of a kick. Mix that all in. And then my secret ingredient. Now, usually what I do is I take the glass I'm drinking from and throw it in. However, I have here a bottle of wine I opened a day or so ago that really wasn't good. So we'll throw it in the mince instead. Obviously you can skip that bit if you want. Right, so I'm getting a nice bit of liquid in there and it's bubbling. I'm going to turn it down a little bit and I'm going to throw in all my other ingredients. And I am going to mix all that lot together. Oh, it looks lovely. Look at that. I don't know if you can see it, but look at that. That is just, I like veg, and this is very much veg with a bit of meat in it, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I think that needs a little bit more liquid, and I will use water this time. I better do this way. Now, I am taking this water out of the tap, but you'll notice that I've actually got 2 taps on my sink. This has been put in extra. This is filtered water. So I'm not putting Spanish water in, I'm putting some filtered water in. That's better. Mixing all that in, and then this now is going to cook for me. It's now 4:30. This is going to cook for me for a good couple of hours, I think. and I'll come back and I'll stir and I'll taste and I'll add and well, I can't subtract, honestly, obviously, but I'll add and I'll see how it comes up. What I didn't mention with the mushrooms is I've actually quartered them. You can halve them, or you can use fresh mushrooms if you like. I just find that living here, the tinned mushrooms are really pleasant. I say tinned, they're in a jar. They're really pleasant and they last longer. So I'm going to turn the heat down on that to a simmer, cover it, leaving a little bit of a space, and I'll come back to that later. And I'll come back to you later as well. Okay, I'm back a little quicker than I intended to be. I've just realised I didn't put the bay leaves in. So I'm leaving them whole and I'm just folding them into the meat and veg. Okay. Okay, welcome back guys. So whilst you've been away, I've done the washing up obviously, and I've been stirring this, I've been adding, I've been tasting, I've been adding, hang on. Yeah, it still needs a little bit more, so I'm going to put a little bit more Lea & Perrins in there. Do love Worcester sauce, and I'm going to put a bit more chilli in there, and I'm going to put a bit more of my mixed herbs in there, and I'm going to mix that round. Now the last hour and a bit I've been simmering this with the lid on to get more liquid in there. Now for the last half an hour I'm going to turn it, but okay. I'm now going to leave it with the lid off to get rid of some of the juice. Okay? Does that make sense to everyone? And does. Okay, so whilst you've been away, I've moved the pan as I said I would to the back, and I boiled some water with a tiny little drop of excuse me, tiny little drop of virgin oil in there to stop the pasta sticking. And I'm throwing my pasta into the pan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that boil and cook. This is still simmering at the back, and you'll be back again and see me in a minute. Okay, so welcome back. So my pasta is cooked. So I'm putting that in a bowl. I've drained it a little bit, just a little bit of water left in the bottom. So I put that in the bowl, and one of my favourite ingredients, cheese. And what I do is I just sprinkle a little bit of cheese over the pasta, leave that for a minute. I like to wash my pans as I go. That way you don't have a great big mass of washing up to do, and it gives the cheese time to melt on top of the pasta, or start melting. So leave that to drain. So, excuse me. So now my mince, and what I'm going to do is I'm using a sieve spoon. I don't know what they're called. And I'm going to lose a lot of the liquid and just heap my savoury mince on top of that pasta. There we go. That can go in the wash, that can go in the wash. That's off. I'm then going to put a little bit more cheese on top. And I'm going to move the pan, not with my bare fingers, I'm not. I'm going to move the pan off the heat and onto the glass top. That can now sit there whilst that cheese is melting. I do a quick wash of the small implements that I have here, just to keep up to date with it. And my plate is ready to go outside and sit on the balcony. And okay, so I've eaten. I haven't thrown up. Once it's cool, and the reason I kept the liquid is because you want the liquid to go into the containers. Okay, does that make sense? Because when this freezes and when you defrost it, you are going to want that liquid in there to help it. I'm sure you know what I mean. I'm trying to do two things. Oh my word, that's got all the bay leaves are gone in that one. Doesn't matter. So I've got a few little bits left to do. So out of that recipe, I've got 4 meals. Yeah, 4 meals. That's not bad. And that was half of the mince that I bought from the supermarket. So there you go. These will go in the freezer. When I need to hook them out, I'm going to nip that bay leaf there. I'm going to put it in there. So there we go. It's not a cookery lesson. It's something that I do. Oh, I hope you enjoyed it. Am I in the camera? Yes. Oh, yeah, there we go. I hope you enjoyed it. And you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say stay safe, stay strong, stay sane.